Last month, a 78-year-old man sat in my office and slid a piece of paper across my desk. On it was a handwritten list of 5 things he mixes into coconut water every single night before bed. I looked at his blood work. His free testosterone was higher than men in their late 40s who sit in that same chair. His vascular health markers were exceptional. And his wife, who had come with him to the appointment, looked at me and said, "Doctor, whatever he's doing, it's working. For both of us." I did not prescribe him anything. No injections or hormone therapy. No expensive medications with a side effect list longer than the benefits. I asked him where he learned about this combination. He said he spent 2 years researching, testing, and refining it. Then he handed me that paper and said, "Share it." So today, that is exactly what I am doing. My name is Dr. Mei Anderson. I am a urologist with over 20 years of experience working exclusively with men over 60 on sexual health, performance, and vitality. I have sat across from thousands of men in my career. Men who came in quietly, carefully, carrying something they had not told anyone else. And what I am about to share with you today is one of the most complete, synergistic natural protocols I have ever reviewed for male sexual function. Built around one of the most overlooked delivery vehicles in nutritional science, coconut water. Not because it is trendy, not because it tastes good, but because of what it does to every single compound you dissolve inside it, and how it fundamentally changes the way your body absorbs, transports, and activates the ingredients that directly affect your libido, your erections, and your sustained vitality. Before I walk you through each combination, I want you to do one thing right now. Drop your age in the comments below, just your age, because by the end of this video, you will understand exactly which of these combinations your body needs most based on where you are right now. I will be reading those comments personally. And stay with me through the third combination. That is the pairing responsible for what men in my patient community have started calling the morning confirmation. You will understand exactly what that means when we get there. Let's begin. Before we talk about what goes into this drink, we need to talk about why coconut water is the base. Because this is not a minor detail. This is the entire reason the protocol works as powerfully as it does. Most men, when they start researching natural solutions for sexual health, focus entirely on the ingredient. They buy a supplement, swallow a capsule, and wait. Sometimes they feel something. Often they feel very little. And they assume the ingredient simply does not work for them. Here is what is actually happening. The ingredient may be excellent. The problem is delivery. The problem is absorption. The compound is being partially destroyed in the digestive process before it ever reaches the tissue that needs it. This is where coconut water is genuinely different from any other liquid base, including plain water. Coconut water contains a natural and precise electrolyte matrix, potassium, magnesium, sodium, and phosphorus, in ratios that are closer to human blood plasma than almost any other natural liquid on Earth. This is not marketing language. This is why coconut water has been used intravenously in emergency field medicine, when saline was unavailable. It is that biochemically similar to what flows inside your body right now. What this means practically is that when you dissolve bioactive compounds into coconut water, those compounds travel through your digestive barrier with significantly greater efficiency. The electrolyte environment keeps cellular channels open. Potassium enhances the permeability of intestinal cells, meaning compounds that would normally pass partially unabsorbed are pulled into the bloodstream at a higher rate. Magnesium, which most men over 60 are chronically deficient in, begins replenishing immediately through coconut water's natural form, which is far more bioavailable than the magnesium in most capsules. Beyond absorption, coconut water has a mildly alkaline pH that interacts with certain compounds to pre-activate them before they even reach the stomach. And its natural anti-inflammatory baseline means it does not fight the ingredients you add to it, the way acidic or processed drinks often do. Think of it this way. Every other delivery vehicle, plain water, juice, milk, is a road. Coconut water is a highway with no traffic. The compounds you mix into it arrive faster, more intact, and in higher concentration at the exact tissues that need them. Now let us talk about what goes on that highway. And if you have not subscribed to Vital Health Seniors yet, do that right now and tap the bell. I am releasing the written version of this full protocol with specific product recommendations this week, exclusively for subscribers. You do not want to miss that. The first combination is black maca root dissolved directly into coconut water. And I want to be precise about why I specify black maca, because this matters enormously and most content glosses right over it. There are 3 varieties of maca: yellow, red, and black. Yellow maca has general energy and mood benefits. Red maca has been studied specifically for prostate support. Black maca is the variety with the most direct and robust research behind male libido, sexual drive, and reproductive function. They are not interchangeable. When you are buying maca for this protocol, you want black maca specifically. Now here is what makes black maca genuinely different from most ingredients in this space, and why it belongs at the foundation of what we are building. Most interventions for male sexual health target testosterone, and testosterone matters enormously. But libido, the actual desire, the mental and physical pull toward intimacy, is not controlled exclusively by testosterone. It is governed by a deeper system, the hypothalamic pituitary axis. This is the command center in your brain that regulates not just testosterone, but the entire cascade of neurological signals that generate desire at its origin point. Black maca does not work on testosterone directly. It works upstream. It stimulates the hypothalamic pituitary axis, meaning it addresses the signal source, not just one downstream hormone. This is precisely why men with perfectly normal testosterone levels sometimes experience almost no libido at all. The signal from the brain is weak. Maca strengthens that signal directly. Clinical research has shown that black maca improves self-reported sexual desire in men completely independently of changes in testosterone or estrogen levels. This is critical. It means maca works on the mechanism that actually generates desire, not just the hormonal environment surrounding it. When black maca powder is dissolved in coconut water, the potassium in the base enhances its uptake into the bloodstream, and the electrolyte matrix improves its passage across the blood-brain barrier, which is precisely where maca needs to arrive to stimulate the hypothalamic pituitary axis effectively. For preparation, you want 1 full teaspoon of black maca powder stirred vigorously into 300 milliliters of cold, unsweetened coconut water. The taste is mildly earthy and slightly nutty. Most men find it entirely pleasant, especially once the full stack comes together. But here is the limitation of maca on its own that almost nobody addresses. Maca sends the libido signal upward from the brain. But if your body is flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone that acts as a direct biochemical antagonist to sexual function, that signal gets intercepted before it lands anywhere meaningful. And this is exactly where the second combination becomes essential. Ashwagandha, specifically the KSM-66 extract, which carries the highest concentration of withanolides and the most extensive clinical evidence behind it, is one of the most potent natural cortisol suppressors we have available. Studies have shown that KSM-66 reduces cortisol levels by up to 27% with consistent use. And in separate research, it has demonstrated the ability to increase total testosterone by approximately 17% and significantly improve sexual function scores in men experiencing stress-related hormonal disruption. But what makes this combination so powerful is not what each ingredient does independently. It is what they do simultaneously in opposition to each other's limitations. Maca pushes the libido signal upward from the brain. Ashwagandha removes the hormonal interference that was preventing that signal from being received by the body. These are not 2 ingredients doing the same thing. They are 2 ingredients working on opposite sides of the same problem at the same time. One is the accelerator. The other releases the brake. When both are dissolved together in coconut water, the magnesium already present in the base adds yet another layer. Because magnesium is itself a natural cortisol regulator, and it begins correcting the mineral deficiency that often underlies chronic cortisol elevation in men over 60. The 3 work in concert before the drink even reaches the stomach. For preparation, add half a teaspoon of KSM-66 ashwagandha extract to your maca and coconut water mixture. This combination is best consumed in the evening, approximately 60 to 90 minutes before sleep. Because cortisol naturally needs to drop at night to allow testosterone to peak during deep sleep, and ashwagandha accelerates that transition precisely when the body needs it most. Before we move forward, I want to ask you something directly. Have you ever tried ashwagandha or maca on their own and felt underwhelmed by the results? Type solo in the comments below if that is your experience. Because what you are about to hear next is the biological reason why. And the combination that changes everything. The third combination is the one I told you to stay for. And I want you to understand why this pairing is categorically different from everything you have likely heard about blood flow and erections. Most content in this space presents a simple chain. Generate more nitric oxide, get better blood flow, get better erections. And that logic is correct, as far as it goes. But it stops precisely at the most important part of the mechanism. Here is the complete picture. L-citrulline is an amino acid found naturally in watermelon, and it has a conversion pathway that makes it significantly more effective than L-arginine, the compound most people in this space discuss, for sustained nitric oxide production. When L-citrulline enters the kidneys, it converts to L-arginine, which then activates nitric oxide synthase. This kidney-mediated conversion is far more efficient than taking L-arginine directly, which gets substantially broken down in the digestive tract before it can even be utilized. The result is a meaningful, sustained elevation in nitric oxide, which relaxes the smooth muscle tissue in penile arteries, allowing the blood volume required for a full, firm erection to rush in and be held there. But here is the part that almost nobody discusses. And this is the part that matters most. Nitric oxide is extraordinarily fragile. The moment it is produced, it faces immediate destruction from free radicals, reactive oxygen species circulating in the bloodstream. And in men over 60, oxidative stress is typically elevated, which means nitric oxide is being destroyed almost as fast as it is being generated. This is why men sometimes experience a brief initial response that fades quickly and incompletely. The blood flow signal was generated, but it was dismantled before it could do its full work. This is exactly where pomegranate concentrate enters the combination, and why this is a true synergy and not simply two separate ingredients working in parallel. Pomegranate is one of the richest sources of allagitannins on Earth. These compounds are among the most potent antioxidants ever studied specifically in the context of nitric oxide preservation. Research published in the journal Nitric Oxide demonstrated that pomegranate extract can protect and meaningfully extend the biological activity of nitric oxide by neutralizing the free radicals that would otherwise destroy it almost immediately. L-citrulline creates the nitric oxide signal. Pomegranate locks that signal in place and extends its duration inside the tissue. This is the biological difference between an erection that begins and fades and one that is full, sustained, and reliable. Generation and preservation, happening simultaneously through two completely independent mechanisms feeding the same outcome. Coconut water adds a third dimension here that makes this base more than passive. Its natural antioxidant compounds, particularly cytokinin and naturally occurring vitamin C precursors, provide another layer of nitric oxide protection, making the coconut water itself an active participant in this mechanism rather than simply a carrier. For men who have experienced that response weakening over the years, that frustrating pattern of things starting but not holding, this combination addresses the precise biological reason that happens, not by forcing anything, by supporting what your body is already trying to accomplish. For preparation, use 1 teaspoon of L-citrulline powder and 2 tablespoons of 100% pure pomegranate concentrate, not pomegranate juice, which is too diluted. Stirred thoroughly into your coconut water mixture. The combination gives the drink a deep, rich color and a pleasant tartness that most men genuinely enjoy. Now I want to ask you something. Before today, did you know that pomegranate's primary role in erectile function is the preservation of nitric oxide rather than the generation of it? Type yes or no in the comments. I will be responding to as many of those as I can personally today. Everything in this protocol up to this point is powerful. What comes next is what makes all of it work to its absolute maximum potential. Fresh ginger juice does 2 entirely distinct things in this context that no other ingredient in the stack can replicate. The first is that it increases gastric motility, the speed and efficiency with which your stomach processes and moves compounds into the small intestine for absorption. When ginger is present, every other ingredient in the drink crosses the digestive barrier faster and more completely. It is a bioavailability amplifier for the entire stack simultaneously. The second is more specific and more important for what we are trying to achieve. Gingerols, the primary bioactive compounds in fresh ginger, improve microcirculation. This is circulation in the smallest blood vessels, the capillary networks that determine sensitivity, nerve response, and the quality of physical sensation during intimacy. The L-citrulline and pomegranate combination opens the major arterial pathways. Ginger ensures that blood reaches the finest and most sensitive networks of tissue, the ones that determine not just whether something happens, but how it feels. This is the clinical difference between blood flow that is present and blood flow that is truly felt. And for men who have noticed a reduction in sensitivity alongside changes in erectile function, which is extremely common and almost never addressed directly, this distinction is genuinely significant. Piperine, the active compound in black pepper extract, is where this combination becomes exceptional. Most people associate piperine exclusively with curcumin absorption. What is far less discussed is that piperine has a broad inhibitory effect on the intestinal and hepatic enzymes responsible for metabolizing a wide range of compounds before they reach the bloodstream. This means piperine does not enhance just one ingredient. It enhances the bioavailability of multiple compounds in the entire stack at the same time. The research on piperine's reach is substantial. Studies show it can increase the absorption of various bioactive compounds by anywhere from 30% to over 2,000% depending on the specific compound. Applied to this protocol, it means every ingredient in your coconut water drink, the maca, the ashwagandha, the L-citrulline, the pomegranate elagitanins, arrives in your bloodstream in meaningfully higher concentration than it would without piperine present. Ginger opens the digestive highway. Piperine ensures nothing valuable is lost in transit. Together in coconut water, with its already enhanced absorption environment, this combination effectively upgrades the performance of every other ingredient in the protocol. Nothing about this is redundant. Everything earns its place. For preparation, use half a teaspoon of freshly pressed ginger juice, squeeze through a fine cloth or a small press, and a pinch, approximately 5 milligrams, of piperine extract. A small amount of piperine is entirely sufficient. More is not better here. And that small quantity is all it takes to produce the absorption-enhancing effect across the full stack. Now we come to the final combination, the one responsible for what I mentioned at the very beginning. What men in my patient community have started calling the morning confirmation. And now that you have stayed with me through the full protocol, I am going to explain exactly what produces that experience and why. Raw, unfiltered honey, not processed honey, which has been stripped of its mineral content, contains meaningful levels of boron. Boron is a trace mineral with a direct and well-documented effect on testosterone bioavailability. Specifically, it inhibits the binding proteins, primarily sex hormone-binding globulin, that attach to testosterone in the bloodstream and render it inaccessible to the body's tissues. Here is something that most men have never been told, and that changes how they understand everything they have experienced. The majority of the testosterone in your body right now is bound. It is attached to proteins and cannot be used by your muscles, your brain, your heart, or the erectile tissue that depends on it. When doctors measure total testosterone, which is what most standard blood panels check, that number includes both bound and free testosterone. But only free testosterone is biologically active. Only free testosterone produces the effects you can actually feel in your body. Boron from raw honey increases the proportion of free, biologically active testosterone circulating in your system. Research has demonstrated that consistent boron intake can increase free testosterone by nearly 30% within 1 week of use. For a man whose total testosterone appears adequate on paper, but whose free testosterone is chronically suppressed, which is extraordinarily common in men over 60. This shift produces effects that are measurable, noticeable, and in many cases profound. But there is a biological problem with taking honey at night that must be addressed directly. Natural sugars, even from raw honey, create an insulin response. And insulin elevation at night disrupts the hormonal environment that testosterone synthesis requires during sleep. Because testosterone production peaks during the deep stages of sleep, and elevated insulin competes with and suppresses that process precisely when it should be operating at its highest. This is exactly where Ceylon cinnamon becomes the non-negotiable partner in this combination. Ceylon cinnamon, not cassia cinnamon, which is the common variety found in most kitchens, and which has a different and less beneficial compound profile, contains active compounds called cinnamaldehyde and MHCP that are among the most effective natural insulin sensitizers and blood sugar stabilizers studied in nutritional science. When Ceylon cinnamon is present alongside honey, the natural sugars are processed far more slowly and evenly. The insulin response is significantly blunted and smoothed over time rather than spiking sharply. The result is precisely what this protocol requires. Honey delivers boron to free your bound testosterone. Ceylon cinnamon ensures the nighttime hormonal environment remains stable enough for that freed testosterone to stay active, and for your body to synthesize more of it during sleep without insulin disruption interfering. Coconut water's own natural compound profile completes this mechanism by providing a slow, stable energy base that further prevents the blood sugar volatility that undermines nighttime hormone production in men who consume anything sweet before bed. This is the morning confirmation. Freed testosterone, stabilized blood sugar, uninterrupted testosterone synthesis during the body's natural repair cycle overnight. Men who add this combination consistently describe waking with a firmness and physical readiness that they had not experienced in years, sometimes considerably longer. That is not coincidence. That is the body doing what it was always capable of doing, given the right conditions to do it. For preparation, add 1 teaspoon of raw unfiltered honey and a 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon. Always specify Ceylon. And stir thoroughly into the full mixture until everything is completely dissolved. Here is the complete protocol. Take a screenshot of this. Save this. This is everything together. Start with 300 milliliters of cold, unsweetened coconut water as your base. Add 1 teaspoon of black maca powder. Add half a teaspoon of KSM, 66 ashwagandha extract. Add 1 teaspoon of L-citrulline powder. Add 2 tablespoons of 100% pomegranate concentrate. Add half a teaspoon of freshly pressed ginger juice. Add a small pinch of piperine extract. Add 1 teaspoon of raw unfiltered honey. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon. Shake or blend everything thoroughly. Consume 60 to 90 minutes before bed. That timing is not arbitrary. The 60 to 90-minute window before sleep is when your body is actively transitioning into its hormonal repair cycle. Cortisol begins its natural nighttime drop. Growth hormone release initiates. Testosterone synthesis begins ramping toward its overnight peak. By consuming this protocol in that window, you are delivering every compound at the exact moment the body is most receptive and most capable of utilizing each one. Let me draw you the complete picture of how these combinations talk to each other, because seeing the full architecture is what makes this feel like a system rather than a list. Ashwagandha lowers cortisol. This clears the biochemical interference that was blocking the libido signal. Maca's stimulation of the hypothalamic pituitary axis now arrives at its target without disruption. Desire initiates at the neurological level. Genuine, spontaneous, not manufactured. L-citrulline generates the nitric oxide that opens the arterial pathways to erectile tissue. Pomegranate preserves that nitric oxide against the free radical destruction that was cutting the signal short. Ginger drives the resulting blood flow all the way into the microcirculation, where sensitivity and physical sensation are actually experienced. Piperine ensures that every compound in the stack reaches the bloodstream in the highest possible concentration. Nothing is metabolized away before it arrives. Nothing is wasted. Raw honey frees the testosterone that has been sitting bound and inaccessible in your bloodstream. Ceylon cinnamon protects the nighttime hormonal environment, in which your body synthesizes more testosterone during sleep. Coconut water enhances the absorption of everything, delivers its own electrolyte and antioxidant support, and provides the plasma-like base that makes this drink work at a level no other liquid can replicate. Every element earns its place. Nothing overlaps. Nothing competes. This is a protocol designed at the system level, where each piece addresses a different lock on the same door, and together they open that door completely. In terms of what to expect and when, I want to give you honest expectations, because your trust matters more to me than your excitement in this moment. In the first 3 nights, most men notice an improvement in sleep quality, deeper rest, more vivid dreaming, waking more refreshed than they have in some time. This is the ashwagandha cortisol suppression and the cinnamon blood sugar stabilization, beginning to work as the body settles into a better overnight rhythm. In the first 1 to 2 weeks, libido becomes more spontaneous, not something that requires deliberate mental effort to locate. The pull toward intimacy returns with a naturalness that many men have not felt in years. This is the maca and ashwagandha combination reaching its operating rhythm after consistent daily use. Between weeks 2 and 4, erectile quality shifts noticeably. Fuller response, more sustained firmness, improved sensitivity in the tissue. This is the L-citrulline and pomegranate combination operating at consistent circulating levels, compounded by the microcirculation improvement from ginger. At 60 to 90 days of consistent use, the cumulative effect of freed testosterone, sustained nitric oxide production, reduced inflammatory load, improved sleep architecture, and optimized hormonal synthesis during sleep produces changes that men describe as fundamental rather than incremental. Energy that extends through the full day. Confidence that is both physical and mental. Vitality that reaches beyond the bedroom into every dimension of how a man carries himself and moves through his life. If you are managing a serious cardiovascular condition, type 2 diabetes, or you are taking medications that affect blood pressure or blood flow, please speak with your physician before starting this protocol. Several of these compounds have real, meaningful effects on circulation and blood sugar. That is their strength, and it means medical oversight is appropriate in those specific contexts. Before you go, I want to ask you for 3 things. And I want to tell you why each one genuinely matters. Leave a comment right now. Tell me your age. Tell me which combination resonated most with you. Tell me one question you want me to answer in a future video. I read every comment on this channel personally, and your questions directly shape what I create next. When you engage in the comments, you are not just interacting with the video. You are influencing what gets made next for men exactly like you. If this video gave you something genuinely useful, if it explained a mechanism you had never heard explained clearly before, or gave you a protocol you can actually begin tonight, hit the like button. Every like tells the platform that this content is worth showing to more men who are searching for real answers right now. You may be directly responsible for another man finding this video simply because you clicked that button. Subscribe to Vital Health Seniors and turn on notifications. I create content specifically for men over 60 who want evidence-informed, practical guidance on sexual health, performance, and vitality. No file. No recycled generic information. And I am releasing the full written version of this protocol with specific product recommendations and exact dosage guidelines exclusively for subscribers this week. And if you know a man, a friend, a brother, someone you care about who has gone quiet about something he is privately struggling with, send this video to him. Quietly. Without making it a conversation. Just send it. You may give him something he did not know he was looking for. Drop your age in the comments. Tell me which combination you are starting with tonight. And I will see you in the next video. I am Dr. Mei Anderson. Your vitality at 60, 70, and 80 is not a hope. It is a biological reality available to you. And tonight is a completely reasonable time to begin claiming it.